From Fox City Stadium in Grand Chute, Wisconsin, I'm Pat Coleman along with Jim Dixon, our guru of Division III baseball here at d3baseball.com, as we wrap up Day 3 at the 2016 Division III Baseball World Series. A Sunday, a day in which, get this, there was rain. And we did not get all of our games in. Again, we were supposed to try to play 4. We got 3 in. If they had wanted to play a 4th game, they would have had to either turn the field around in 15 minutes or start it after midnight, which is something they have said in the past that they just will not do, and they held to that tonight. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes, but want to start with our opening game of the day between Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas, and the State University of New York, Cortland, in, oddly enough, Cortland, New York, where they have been waiting. The Cortland folks and the Trinity folks have been waiting a whole day to play this game. They were the 2 teams that won on Friday, and then they sat all day Saturday, had a day off, came back on, it was supposed to be Sunday morning. They were here on Sunday morning, and the game started a little bit after noon. The bats came out early, and they came out often eventually for both teams, Jim.
They did. Trinity scored first. They took a 3-0 lead, and then the rains came. And after the tarps were pulled and the game was back on, Cortland was ready to go, and they took the lead. But Trinity was up to the task, and with a 5 spot of their own, they were able to sit there and stop a 6-game win streak by Cortland.
Yeah, it seemed like perhaps Michael Walker, the Trinity starter, didn't come out so well after the rain delay. We've seen, I guess some mixed results, some really good results for teams coming back after long rain delays. But Walker just didn't seem to quite have it. As you mentioned, the rains came in the 3rd, and Cortland put up that 5 spot in the 4th. But Trinity came right back to match it, and then Cortland put a couple of runs on the board in the bottom of the 8th to cut the lead to 8-7, and then in the top half of the inning, uncharacteristic, a dropped throw on what was an easy infield grounder, a sacrifice attempt by Trinity. Instead, the runner who should have been out at second came around to score, made it 9-7, and kind of changed the nature of that bottom half of that 9th inning too.
When you're entering the 9th inning, having to come up with 1 run is a whole lot easier than trying to play for 2. And that's what Cortland was faced with, and it certainly was too much for the Red Dragons today.
Kudos to Chris Tate. He came out of the bullpen in relief. He was the 3rd pitcher of the day for the Tigers. He went 4 2/3 innings, ended up giving up 2 runs, but at the end, after he tired a little bit, he got the win to improve to 5-0. Andrew Hoffman came out of the pen to pick up his save number 4. Big bats, Drew Butler, the catcher for the Tigers, just 1 for 5, but with a 3-run homer. Nick Jewett, 3 for 5. Jose Santos, 2 for 5. Andrew Waters, 2 for 5. Trinity got hits from, 7 different players in the course of getting that 9-7 win.
And you can't forget the other side as well. Paul Donero tied a Division III World Series record with 3 doubles in the game. So he's the 6th person to do that, the first one since 2004.
If you watched our Friday coverage, we have no official word on how Paul Dondero felt about any of those 3 doubles. Also, that first game led us to, to coin a new phrase, shall we say. So we've been talking about TarpCon on Twitter on Sunday. If you're familiar with DEFCON, defense condition, the higher the number is, the worse it is. So we were at TarpCon 1 for a couple of hours today. That's when the tarp is on the field. By the end of the day, we were down to TarpCon 4. It was finally moving pretty well. Moving on to the second game, the other game between winners. That was between undefeated at Appleton Keystone and undefeated La Crosse. Keystone, they had a big 6th inning in their first game on Saturday, Jim, and then on Sunday had a big 6th inning as well.
The Giants score runs in bunches, and the coach says, we're out there, we hope we can hold them until the offense can come around. And sure enough, they found 1 inning out of 9 where the offense sit there and they overwhelmed the La Crosse Redhawks.
Chris Triano, 3 for 4, a pair of doubles. Jesse Arnold gets the win. He improves to 10-0. La Crosse just kind of came out a little flat today. And, this is true, too. I think when you're, I don't know if it's sometimes when you're a team making your first appearance or you have one really good pitcher who you can ride, sometimes it's just not as convincing in that second round. Even if you're in the winner's bracket, sometimes it's a little more difficult to come up with that second impressive win.
Well, Keystone was able to do that. Jesse Arnold has may probably have the best pitching performance of the series so far. He came in, only gave up 3 hits, struck out 10. He struggled a little bit in early innings, but once he recovered, slowed things down, took control, he only faced 2 batters over the minimum over the last 6 innings.
They refused to be distracted by those fantastic La Crosse uniforms, reminiscent of the Astros rainbow late 70s, early 80s models. Pretty fantastic. But, yeah, they fall to the losers bracket. They lose 6-1. I mentioned Jesse Arnold got the win to improve to 10-0. Regis Sauer picked up his first loss of the season against 9 victories. And then we get to the late game, which became an even later game because it was kind of late today. And it was our elimination game, and a couple of things were eliminated. But first of all, Cortland defeated Wisconsin-La Crosse by the score of 8-3. Remember, this is a rematch of last year's championship series. It also, Cortland was the last team to keep Taylor Colway off the base paths safely. He had a 51-game hitting streak coming in to the evening. He had 2 last chances, I guess, to extend that hitting streak, and in both the 8th and the 9th innings, Cortland managed to retire him, as well as a couple of fantastic plays earlier in the game.
It took a tremendous effort by the Cortland Red Dragons to sit there and stop that streak. I think they were on a mission. You should see how they were running after the balls in foul territory, how they were diving for balls in the outfield. It is really, truly tremendous that they were able to sit there and keep him off the bases. He should have had a hit or 2.
Yeah, a really fantastic diving play in left field early in the game by Nick Hart, and then a nice play in right field as well. Fabio Ricci on the run to track one down as well. Meanwhile, Cortland just hits all up and down the lineup. 5 multi-hit guys in a row in the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spots in the lineup. Ziemendorf 3 for 5, Ricci 2 for 4, Figueroa 3 for 5, Austin Klock 3 for 4 with 4 runs batted in. Matt Personius with a pair of hits and 4 trips as well. The Cortland bats really came out. They really came out both times today, but and certainly the second time, obviously enough to win.
And Jeff Cook came out and gutted it out. He kept a very potent offense back in the dugout. So it certainly it's a credit to Jeff Cook.
So Colway's 51-game hit streak snapped. That's the other big story, obviously, as we already mentioned. But also, La Crosse's attempt to return to the championship series, to be the first team to return to the Division III baseball best-of-3 championship series, goes by the wayside. Cortland, of course, still has that opportunity. And they will face Trinity 2 times, if necessary, on Monday. But first, before we get to that, there's the game that wasn't played on Sunday night, and that's between St. John Fisher and La Crosse. Again, the game that would have had to start after midnight on Sunday night, and the NCAA committee stuck to its curfew and did not do that. So they'll be back at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. That game will be followed by the Cortland Trinity game. If Cortland wins that game, then they will play again, and we'll have a third game. And then Keystone awaits the winner of St. John Fisher and La Crosse. So those are the 4 games we could have tomorrow. We might have just 3. And of course, that leaves 1 game potentially to hang out of this this pod elimination play into Tuesday, because if the St. John Fisher La Crosse winner beats Keystone, no matter what happens with Cortland and Trinity, we can't play that Pod B if game.
We're going to see at least 1 championship game on Tuesday, it looks like, and it will just be maybe half day behind, which is surprising with as much rain as we've gotten. Yeah,
although we could wrap up both of those pods on Monday, right? If Cortland, regardless of Cortland Trinity, they play either of those 2 games. If Keystone beats the team that survives out of the losers bracket, then Keystone goes into the championship series.
If Trinity beats Cortland and Keystone beats the winner of the first game tomorrow, we're headed to 2 games on Tuesday, and we could see a champion crowned on Tuesday.
So we're hoping for that, obviously. We're hoping for great baseball. And also, we're just hoping that we get baseball in on Tuesday. Not that you have radar that far out, but the advanced weather report just doesn't look that good. It's been a tough year. We've had a lot of ins and outs, and a half hour here followed by clearing the tarp, followed by, maybe we just won't start at 10 o'clock because we think it might rain for a few minutes at 10:45. It's just been kind of a mess.
It's been a struggle, and it's I'm for one is going to enjoy my extra 3 hours of sleep tonight before I show up this morning for another game.
We're officially going into the overnight at TarpCon 3, just so you know, and that's what we'll do as we get you ready for what's coming up on Monday, Memorial Day, here at the Division III Baseball Championships. So lots of stuff on the website today, aside from what we've talked about here. Feature story on Tanner Wilt, the ace for La Roche, and his long journey into Division III, and then bringing La Roche to the Division III World Series. So feature on that. If you're a Marietta fan, I don't know why you've been watching, but we appreciate that. There's a feature for you, and also for St. John Fisher fans as well. You guys can probably figure out where that is. And that is, there was one more feature that we ran today as well, isn't there?
We've been busy during the rainstorms.
Yeah, we have.
And it's when we're not playing games, we're sitting there looking at what we can figure and find out and bring some news to our Division III baseball fans.
So you can find all that on d3baseball.com. Also, make sure you're following us on Twitter at d3baseball and using the hashtag D3B. And if you want to know what the latest tarp condition is here at Fox City Stadium, just use the hashtag TarpCon. For Jim Dixon, I'm Pat Coleman, wrapping it up for Day 3 from the Division III World Series.